It's definitely just a more competitive market. There's fewer deals to go around. Commissions are getting compressed. So what I've done a little different than the average real estate agent is kind of come up with a hybrid model. The majority of the income comes from the creative cash offer type marketing. Last year, we did 85 retail transactions, 15 off-market wholesale assignments. Notice the difference there in terms of the average fee between those two companies. We did 2.7 million last year with 4 salespeople. Awesome. So what I wanted to get into today perfectly piggybacks on what Jose talked about and what Jeff talked about. So it's all aligned. So what I've done a little different than the average real estate agent is kind of come up with a hybrid model. The majority of the income actually comes from the creative cash offer type marketing. If somebody that had no real estate experience wanted to start a wholesaling company, they would have to start from scratch, right? They would have to learn everything about real estate to even begin that business. But everybody in here has already done deals. Now it's just about making a few shifts and a few pivots in terms of marketing and mindset, right? To create a completely different source to your income. There's fewer deals to go around and commissions are getting compressed. What we found is sellers are looking for different solutions. So you want to be in a position where you can offer people what they want, right? And not just try to force them into the standard MLS model if that's truly not going to be their best fit. The numbers from last year are going to have to give a huge shout out to Aaron because we mapped this out beginning in 2024 with the goal for me to kind of step away from retail a little bit, focus more on the wholesaling creative side because that's where the margins are, and then give more opportunity to my team. So I also want to give a huge shout out to my team. Without them, none of this would be possible. Last year, I got married. We have 2 babies under 2. So actually, I spent the least amount of my time in my career working last year and a lot more on family. So pretty incredible. So last year, we did 85 retail transactions with a group of 4 licensed agents. And then we did 15 off-market wholesale assignments. And do you guys notice the difference there in terms of the average fee? Right. So commissions are great, but at 2-3%, right? Unless you're selling multi-million-dollar homes, you got to sell a lot of them. And then combined between those two companies, one's called Invest Slow. That's our real estate brokerage model. And then Slow Cash Buyer is our home buying company. So we did 2.7 million last year with four salespeople. This is my team right here. So we also have 2 administrative staff, both in the office. So what you'll notice here is it's not a huge organization. You don't need a huge organization to do these kinds of numbers. So even if you're one-man show or you have a team already, 5, 6, or 20, you don't necessarily have to go out and hire new salespeople or new administrative staff to begin with. I think the best play, at least what I found, was cross-training my team. So my listing agents are trained to be acquisitions agents, meaning that if somebody says they want a cash offer, they know how to present the cash offer at the listing appointment, right? And vice versa. So we didn't have to go hire new salespeople. And then same thing with my administrative staff. It didn't justify me going out and hiring another person. Now, if I continued to scale the off market into 40, 50, 60 deals a year, then it probably would make sense to hire more people. But again, I want to make the point that this isn't complicated. You can work with what you have, and with the right training, you can teach your team to do both on and off market. And why that's important is we don't want to increase our payroll expenses, right? We want to stay lean and keep our profit margins as high as possible. Agents, myself included, right? We're always thinking about the next deal, the next commission, and then we're on that commission hamster wheel. Same thing can happen with big real estate or wholesaling operations, right? It's very transactional. You'll notice today, Jose mentioned that he, locked up a $4 million apartment building, right, by changing his mindset to being a principal. And that's something that will happen naturally as you guys start talking to different types of sellers who are looking for options other than just to list their house, right? You're going to notice more opportunities that you can actually pick up and buy yourselves if you position yourself right. So what doesn't have to change? Again, everybody in this room, if you're following what Aaron preaches, you're prospecting focused, right? So our ideal schedule for me and the agents on my team is we wake up in the morning, we prospect from 9 to 12, we take lunch, and then afternoons are for appointments. You can go on 2 to 3 appointments a day with that schedule. If you don't have any appointments, then guess what? Get back to prospecting, right? So that means you can spend your entire day prospecting. So me and my agents, although we have this off-market creative side of the business, our schedule is the same as yours. What doesn't change is your core skills, right? So setting appointments, pre-qualifying leads. I highlighted asking the right questions to uncover motivation, because although that's a skill that we currently have as real estate agents, nuance that with we're going to start asking different questions to uncover different types of motivation. Presenting solutions. So when you're on listing appointments, right, you're presenting a solution, right, to list your house with them for X, Y, and Z reason. Very similar. We're just presenting that solution plus a plethora of other solutions depending on what they need. Handling objections. So yeah, when you meet with the seller and you're, looking to, purchase their house for below market value, you are going to run into objections, right? So there are different sets of objections that you're going to get on a listing appointment, but again, because you already have these skills, it's going to be a pretty easy transition. And then closing the deal, getting to the finish line. There is a little bit of a nuance, right, with how you do an off-market versus an on-market MLS deal, which I'll get into. So the critical shift number one, other than mindset, is what's going to have to change is your marketing. So show of hands, how many people have a marketing budget and spend money on leads of some sort consistently? Great. You don't have to invest any money into marketing per se, but it's definitely going to add fuel to the fire. So the difference here is how many people spend money right now on buyer leads, whether that's like Zillow or Facebook or buyer leads in general. Does anybody pay for those? Neither do we. So we're 100% seller focused. So if I'm going to spend any money on marketing, it's going to be for generating seller leads. The difference is all of my lead generation. So anytime anybody ends up in our funnel, it's because they're raising their hand saying, yes, I would consider a cash offer. The channels that work for me, which I'll do a deep dive on, TV advertising, SMS campaigns, pay-per lead services, and then inbound cold calling. So I want to give you two examples of marketing. One is, like a billboard, look at me, I'm a great realtor. And then the other is a cash offer type marketing piece that could be on a postcard or on a digital advertisement as well. But it's providing a solution, right? I'll buy your house cash, as is, no fees, no commissions. I'll close quickly, bad tenants, no problem. So again, that's calling out to a specific avatar that has a specific problem. And if they're going to call that advertisement, chances are they're a really, really good lead, right? And it's not going to be all that hard to convert them. I've ran both types of advertising, the brand awareness, realtor, look at me advertising, and I haven't gotten any phone calls from it going around town like, hey, I saw you advertising at the gym or what have you. But that's brand awareness. The other is direct response. Again, we're targeting people that have a problem. And if they are going to call or respond to that marketing piece, it's for a reason. But pay-per lead. So that's motivated sellers, propertyleads.com, motivatedleads.com, Leadzolo, and ZBuyer. ZBuyer, guys, that's like lowest barrier to entry. I think we pay $150 a month for that. Some of the other pay-per-lead models, it's like $150 per lead up to $300, $400 a lead. So again, depending on your marketing budget, it's going to determine, how your lead flow is going to look with that one. And then texting. Does anybody do any like mass texting right now? So you want to make sure you're working with a provider that's like TCPA compliant, because there are some laws around mass texting. We have a vendor that is. We pay $2,000 a month and we're guaranteed 50 leads from that. And these are people that are saying in that conversation, yes, I would consider a cash offer on my house. We don't even get notified in our CRM until somebody again says yes. Done for you cold calling providers. So how many in this people in this room circle prospect? I used to do that as well. That's how I built my business. I would spend 5-6 hours a day getting 50, 60 contacts a day. But it took a lot of time to get somebody to say, yes, I would consider selling, right? So it was a time constraint thing. Now what we do is we hire companies that will do all of the circle prospecting for us. The script's a little bit different. They're basically calling people saying, hey, we're cash buyers. Would you consider a cash offer on your house? Again, I don't even get notified until somebody has responded positively to that conversation. And then I get a few short detailed notes, right? And then me and my team follow up with those leads. So the difference there is if it took me 2 hours to generate one seller lead doing that myself, now I wake up and I have 5 or 6 in my CRM brand new every day. And then TV ads, I'm going to show you guys my TV commercial and kind of explain why that might not make sense for you depending on your market. And then having a home buyer website.
Hi, this is Abel with Slow Cash Buyer, and we buy houses. We're the call to make to sell your house as is for cash. We buy properties all over in any price range. Inherited, bad renter houses, foreclosures, apartment buildings, commercial properties, land, even nicer homes you just can't keep up with. Don't make any repairs or even clean up, and best of all, no closing costs. We're helping people all over California sell their house as is for a fair cash offer. Call 805-609-0000. That's 805-609-0000.
So I started running that ad in 2022 in my local market. Because my geography is about a population of 500,000, it's actually a really good budget. So I only spend about $5,000 a month to run that ad. If you live here in Fort Lauderdale and you have a couple million people, right, that have houses, you're probably looking at like a $15,000 to $20,000 like entry minimum. If you live in a big metro market, you can film an ad like this, but put it on YouTube, right? Or you can get on Hulu and some of the streaming services for just a few $1,000s a month. So you can still run this type of advertisement regardless of what the TV, budget itself would be. I've gotten a ton of listings from this advertisement, as well as the majority of my actual assignment fee income of that $814,000 came from this ad alone. I'm appealing to a specific type of avatar that has a problem that they need solved immediately. So if I look at my call rail metrics, my phone is not ringing off the hook because I run this ad, even though it's being seen thousands of times. I'm getting a few really, really good leads a week, but then the conversion on those leads is extremely high, right? So who are motivated sellers? So it's somebody that wants to do something quickly. Property challenges, it wouldn't pass a traditional financing appraisal inspection. Maybe there's access issues with tenants, or maybe the person's just privacy focused, or life transitions. So people dealing with death, divorce, moving, financial problems. So these are the types of people that call us or respond to the cash offer type advertising. So again, this is residential brokerage income. So we did $522,000 of team GCI that came from this motivated seller cash offer advertising. So that's texting, cold calling, pay-per lead, and TV. And then another thing is everyone familiar with what a list back is? So you find a really good deal for an investor, whether it's on or off market, you sell it to them, they flip the house with the agreement that they're going to list it back with you when they're done. We try to get that in place every single time. It's not a guarantee, but if you build a good relationship with some of the buyers that you work with, then this should be something that becomes a more prominent part of your business. So that was 157,000. I believe that was 11 closings from last year. And then if we add those two things up, that's 679,000. So the critical shift number 2, what does change is your sales process. So most agents, myself included, when I first started, we only had one exit strategy, which is I can give you a really good presentation and I can list your house and I can get you the most. And that works sometimes. And then with the hybrid model, you have multiple exit strategies, right? So let's think about this. Have you ever had a seller who absolutely refused to list their house? And because you only had one solution to offer, right? You left commission on the table. So it's like, hey, John, right? I'd say that happens every day with like FSBOs and stuff, right? This is where the toolbox expansion comes in. We want to lead with curiosity, not pressure. So again, realtors offer one solution, list with me, but the motivated seller's looking for a different type of option. So by asking the right questions and offering both listing and a cash offer, like, hey, I'll buy this direct if that's what you're looking for, it just opens up the conversation to people that, again, they're just looking for something different. There's a significant amount of transactions that happen. If you were to compare MLS transactions with off-market county records, again, we're missing out on a lot of those, right? Why are they not listing their house? Well, they have their reasons. And then again, I want to emphasize the difference here with on and off market fee size. And this is going to be market specific. But on average, your assignment fees are going to be much, much larger than a standard commission. So we have a few different exit strategies to go over, and there's more than just three, but the main ones that we use, right, is the cash offer, and that's typically the lead magnet. That's why they're calling us to begin with. And then strategy number two is the on-market retail listing. And then three would be the creative finance, novation, seller financing, subject to deals. For me personally and my team, what works in my market is the first two. I think the creative finance sub two stuff works a lot better in like lower price point markets. Our average price point's $850, right? So just be cognizant of that. So let's dive a little bit deeper on why would a seller be looking for an alternative. So an extreme time pressure, let's say this person is facing foreclosure. Maybe they already have an auction date and they have 2 weeks to get the property sold before the bank takes it back. Not 2 weeks to list it or 2 weeks to get an offer, but 2 weeks to get it sold. A standard realtor, hey, I'll list your house, we'll prep it, get photos, review offers in a few weeks. That's not going to work for them, right? Severely distressed properties. So these are properties, again, that might not pass a conventional bank appraisal. They might just show really, really poorly. Hoarder house situations where people are embarrassed, right, of their living conditions. Privacy, discretion, and then a lot of times the people that we do business with that are looking for cash offers don't live in the property, right? So they're less attached to the outcome. And then that's especially true that, with estates and probates where the heirs are just looking for closure, not maximizing the price. So again, these are all people, and what's going on in their life and going on in their head is they value convenience over price. So sometimes it's tough as a realtor to understand why would somebody sell their house for way less than I know that I could get them on the open market. But again, these are things to look out for in your conversations, regardless of the lead source, to tell you if they might be looking for a different option rather than just listing their house. So the most important factor out of these three, believe it or not, is going to be condition. If somebody has a house in disrepair, they don't have the money to fix it up, they know it's not going to show well in MLS, it might not pass a standard bank appraisal inspection, regardless of how much they want for the house, right? They might need to look at other options versus listing it. And then number two is going to be motivation. So that's time, pressure, urgency, financial distress, life events, things like that. And then again, the least important factor in your initial conversation when determining whether or not this is a viable off-market opportunity is going to be their initial asking price. So we got a lot of leads that come in that fill stuff out or talk to a cold caller, and they basically tell the cold caller that they're looking for Zillow price, right? So we basically just disregard that number when we go into our conversation, because we know that if motivation and condition of the property fit the bill, then they might actually be up for a cash offer. So let's think about this from a seller's perspective, right? You're talking to a lead. The property needs a new roof. It hasn't been updated in 30 years. It's been a rental. The tenant just moved out. The guy's behind on a couple mortgage payments. So the motivation's there. And when you're talking to him, he's telling you he wants 10% above Zillow estimate, right? Well, in my mind, I don't really care that he's saying that he wants, X amount at this point. What I need to do is dig deeper into the conversation to figure out what this guy's real options are. And if he doesn't have the money to fix up his house and he doesn't have the time, right, to go through the standard listing process, then regardless of his pricing expectations, he actually probably fits better into the off-market quick close cash offer program. But my job is to help them understand what the options are and let them self-discover which option that they want, because I will happily still list a property like as a fixer, right? We can still do that. But again, if they're going to take a cash offer at a discount, they're going to do it for a good reason of their own. So understanding what that is. So let's do just a quick example of how some of these phone calls go, right? So we want to set the stage for multiple solutions at the very first conversation. The goal is to position yourself as the problem solver who can offer the right solution for their specific situation. So what I mean by this is if we get all these cash offer leads that come in, but we only talk to them as cash buying home buyers, right, that want to buy their house at a discount, then we're shutting off the possibility of us being able to help them on the MLS, right? Which is where the majority of our deals are actually done. So the key here is being very nimble when you're talking to these leads, understanding that they filled something out, requesting a cash offer. So we want to speak to that, of course, but we don't want to pigeonhole ourselves into a conversation where it's like, you want too much for the house, I can't help you, I'm sorry. So the goal of these conversations that we have when these leads come in is, number one, just like in regular real estate, is setting the appointment, right? So, hey, John, I noticed you filled out a form on our website about 123 Main Street. Tell me about the property. Why are you selling? Time frame. When do you need to sell? What's important to you? Hey, I noticed you were reaching out to us on our cash offer solution. Why is that important to you? Have you considered taking this property to the open market? Why or why not? So again, the price, the condition, and the motivation conversations are going to come up in this script, right? And that's going to help me in my head, before I start pitching solutions, understand where they're probably going to end up in the bucket. And then again, tell me more about the property. Why are you selling? You're thinking about which exit strategy might make most sense. This is kind of where we're setting the appointment. And this is like the most important part, because again, when we show up on the appointment, they're expecting a cash offer because that's what they called on. But we want to give ourselves permission to give a listing presentation once we get there, right? So we want to be very nimble with our language and give ourselves the seller's giving us permission to present multiple options when we meet. So here's what we'll do. We buy houses cash, as is, no commissions. We can close on the date of your choice. We can't buy every house that we look at. So if the numbers don't make sense for you or me, that's completely fine. Just know that we also run a brokerage where we can help you get top dollar in the open market. And I know that you mentioned you wanted to sell it as is, and we actually have a program for that. So when we get together, I can show you exactly how much you could get on the open market in as is condition. Fair enough? Right. So now what that does is, again, it sets the stage for me or my agent when we show up. We're going to start probably prying a little bit more into the cash offer conversation in the beginning, because that's what they're expecting. And then it's like, hey, you know what? It sounds like what you're looking for is a retail price and a retail buyer. Let me get into how we can help you there. Right. Does that make sense? How you're basically, you're able to pivot right back and forth. And sometimes they're going to be a lot more open with you in person than they would be on the phone. Right. And they might be giving you more honest and upfront answers. So it's going to help you better gather, in person, belly to belly at the kitchen table, what solution to start, pitching. Now, if you're meeting with a retail type lead, meaning the property condition's great, they don't have to sell immediately and they want retail price, but they responded to a cash offer type advertisement, then just know that if you go in there trying to get them to sell you their house at 70% on the dollar, you're probably going to lose rapport, right? And they're probably not going to want you to give them a listing presentation after that. So if you know that the lead is for sure going to be retail, they just wanted to hear about a cash offer, then we're going to very quickly skip over the cash offer, get them to self-discover that's not their best bet without ever me even giving them an offer, and getting right into a listing presentation while I still have rapport with them. This is the last part of that script. When we meet, I'll show you what a cash offer looks like. If the numbers don't work, that's fine, right? Then I can show you what we can get on the open market. So we're not pushing them towards one solution or the other. We're giving them clarity, education, and a choice. Whether they take the cash offer or they list with you, that's a win for you, right? And it's a win for them. So we're not attached to the outcome at all. So here's a very, very cost-effective way to start implementing this hybrid model that I'm talking about here. And that's basically your digital front door, having a home buyer website. So everybody in this room, I'm assuming you guys have your Realtor websites, right? Pay a couple $100s a month to have it hosted. So you can do the same thing with a home buyer website. $200 a month. Carrot.com is the provider that I use. It's a done for you website. You might spend about 30 minutes editing it to your taste, but other than that, it's done for you. What that's going to do, it's going to attract motivated sellers, right, that are on Google searching for sell my house cash. It's going to give you instant credibility. So let's say you're running pay per lead advertisements and people are clicking on cash offer stuff on Facebook. You call them, you talk to them. Hey, I'm Abel. I buy houses. I'm also a realtor. Let's say they're more interested in the cash offer. If they ask you, hey, can you send me your website? And I don't have a cash buyer website and I send them my realtor website, well, they're probably not going to take me like that seriously. Hey, I thought you were a cash buyer, right? So by just simply by having this website in place, it's going to give you credibility when you're talking to people that want a cash offer, right? And it's super easy to set up. And then on your website, again, the pre-built one that I use, it explains the difference between listing your house and the benefits to working with a cash buyer. So if somebody's on the site, they can, again, read for themselves like, okay, that makes sense, right? Here are the different options and the nuances with that. So now we'll get quickly into action items, right? So the two main things that I think we talked about here is number one, just setting up like an entity. To provide yourself with some credibility, right? And that you don't only sell real estate, but you buy real estate. So that would be set up an LLC, name it whatever you'd like. It doesn't really matter. The name of my LLC is Slow Cash or SCB LLC, right? And then setting up that website with the name of the site and the name of the company, you kind of want to be cognizant of Google searches. So Fort Lauderdale cash buyers, sell my house, Fort Lauderdale. Just get creative, not too creative, but kind of add your local geography, right? The name of your market into the name of the website. So that way you're higher likelihood of showing up on Google. And then from a marketing perspective, the easiest things that I think anybody could implement here from a cost and time perspective, number one would be pay per lead. I know Aaron's talked about that on some of his content at length. You're looking at $150 to $300 a lead, depending on your provider, right? So you can set up a budget of $1,000 to even $3,000 a month. What to expect there? 6 to 20 leads a month. SMS texting budget $2,000 a month. You're guaranteed 50 leads. And then cold calling service, the budget that we have is $2,500 a month, and we're guaranteed 35 leads. So again, I think these are like the lowest barrier to entry to get started and start having these at-bat conversations with people that are raising their hand saying that they want a cash offer. Certified media is the name of the texting, and then easy button leads is the name of the cold calling provider. So again, I want to emphasize everybody in this room, you're already doing all the right things in terms of how your business is set up, your schedule, your prospecting, you have negotiation, closing skills. So you're so much more apt to win at adding this new segment of your hybrid model, adding a home buyer business to what you're already doing versus somebody, that's on YouTube that wants to get into wholesaling, right? You would have to teach them how to comp properties, how to negotiate, how to close, right? With you guys, it's just adding a few tweaks to your marketing decisions, your mindset, and some of the questions that you ask, with these sellers. So what to do with this information? Jack, who's sitting in this audience, I had never met him. There he is. I did a YouTube video with Aaron a few months ago, kind of similar in line with what we talked about today, a little bit more nuanced. Jack watched the video a few times, took that information and immediately began implementing. I want to say he's like set to get on TV in his local market here in a few weeks, right? And that, again, he never like reached out to me prior to making that decision. He just took what was said in the presentation and ran with it. And I believe he's already closed a few assignment deals prior to that. So yeah, thank you guys.
This time last year, I was laying on a hospital bed, unable to see and barely able to walk, having just had a stroke. Most Americans are one illness and a corrupt insurance industry away from financial ruin. Never underestimate how loyal and hardworking a father with a sick kid will be. I opened up a day hab, a school for special needs young adults.
With business success comes blessing, and with blessing comes responsibility.